Hey, everyone. What's up? Welcome to another episode of the Arthurian Age. We have um we have seen a lot of interesting things over the last 4 or 5 weeks since ArcheAge has launched. So tonight we're going to do a little chatting about a couple topics, and feel free to ask any questions, please, pertaining to the game or Bear's Beard while we do this cast. So with me tonight I have Chrysamere, August,
Hey, how you guys doing?
Profesie,
What's up, guys?
and of course Bear.
Hey, everybody.
So, like I said, we've been pretty busy over the last 4 or 5 weeks. Made a lot of friends, made a few enemies, built a few dozen ships. It's been an interesting time. But you know, as we start out every cast over the last week, let's find out what everybody's been doing. So, Chrysamere, what have you been doing this last week?
What have I been doing this last week? I am the global ambassador for peace and love and teddy bears on the Western faction.
Yes, you are.
I have dealt with more inter and outer guild politics than I have dealt with my entire life. I blow off steam by attempting to learn the Harani language and planting flowers and slaughtering fishermen, apparently. Yeah, I caused some drama doing that. It's been a very interesting week.
And you know, I've been following that post for last couple days, and it's really interesting because people get so worked up over that, and I understand both sides of it. But what nobody understands is that was because they were slaughtering us.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not just
Mostly.
gonna lay down and take it.
I mean, there's this thing called guilty by association. When you hide within the ranks of our enemies, you're going to get caught in the crossfire. So unfortunately, if you're a fisherman and you fish among people that you know not to be great people, expect to be killed if you defend them. That's common sense, right?
Yeah, this guild had a reputation of going out and killing fishermen, whatever guild they were in.
Well,
Pretty much.
and one of the things that was left out of the forums was one of the times that we went in there, we noticed that there was a fishing boat there by the Angler Guild, I believe it was called, and we didn't mess with their boat. We killed everybody that was fighting, but we left their boat alone, and we left our ally alone. Now, and just to set the record straight, the guy that was our ally in Prestige Worldwide did not ride in with us telling us where to go. We just happened to show up and he was there, and we were like, whoa, 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 it's Prestige Worldwide guy. Leave him be. And as we're sailing off and he's in the water, there's blood everywhere, there's parts of ships floating. We're like, I bet that's going to get him in some trouble. And it did, evidently. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, it did.
Yes, it did. So Bear, what have you been doing the last week?
Well, I was there for that night of the Inglorious Fisherman Slaughter Fest, whatever people are calling it these days. We've been building some more ships. We auctioned off another cutter for DKP. We
Who
built
won that,
three.
by the way?
Kraytek.
Great take.
Awesome. Congrats, Kraytek.
And I've got to tell a quick story. We've got a group of fishermen that I was calling my Bears Heroes of the Week. And what these guys were doing is they went up and wanted to go see if they could find the Kraken. They found the Kraken, but it was surrounded by 8 cutters. And there was multiple guilds there that had the Kraken glitched out. It was trying to attack, but it wasn't doing any damage to anybody. And they're like, Bear, he's down to like 35%. We're sitting here watching and nobody's taking damage. No ships are taking damage. Nothing. I'm like, guys, board one of their ships and start kicking their ass. I mean, start killing them. You don't let them get away with that glitch. And some of them are like, oh, but I'm a fisherman. I can't PvP. I'm like, come on, gird your loins and get up there. And they did, man. They snuck up on the ship. They interrupted whatever glitch was in place. The Kraken went absolutely ape nuts, killed off all the cutters, the clippers. There were bodies littered everywhere. Matter of fact, I got up on one of the cutters and took control of it and took it right by the Kraken, and I went down with that one. But we got a couple of screenshots. Those guys did absolutely awesome. 6 grievance members got a whole armada of Eastern ships utterly destroyed.
Yeah,
So
our
Bears Heroes of the
fishermen,
Week.
our fishermen have a better kill count than me. I don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah,
Nobody
gotcha.
ever,
Awesome.
I like
nobody
my
ever
vape.
said. Nobody
Yeah,
ever
it-
said that they could recruit the Kraken. That's not fair.
Well, normally if I see somebody taking on the Kraken like that, I'm just going to watch, to be honest. I really am. But if you're intentionally glitching out the Kraken, no. You kind of deserve what you get there, in my opinion.
Yep.
And a lot of people won't agree, especially the ones that died. But I don't do the whole hacking cheating thing. It does nothing but hurt the game. But that's my opinion. If you're a hacker or cheater, you probably have a different opinion. More power
Well,
to you.
And we got some screenshots of the Kraken trying to do damage and it not doing damage. And we got a picture of a carrot dash that was running on top of the water at full speed. So not sure how they did that, or if that was even included in their hack or glitch or whatever you want to call it. But we got all those pictures and got those sent off. So maybe that Tryon can fix that, the problem that they had. So
Yeah, obviously they didn't fix it like they said. Empty mine. I'm not quite sure what you mean about them charcoal stabilizers. If you could expand on that, we'll be happy to try to answer it the best we can. So,
well, it's a kind of another fisherman tale. The fishermen were out and they run across a merchant ship that had I think 2 or 3 people on it, and 2 of them were away. So they boarded the merchant ship, killed off all the people, took the packs, and went and turned them in for charcoal stabilizer for the guild.
oh well, there you go. How about them charcoal stabilizers?
I mean, to tell you, our fishermen are really stepping up. It's awesome to see.
Hey, Marco, how's it going? So, Prophecy, this last week, what you been up to, bud?
See, been trying to plant some trees, some cedars, and get us some more thunderstrucks for some more fishing boats, and had a lot of work. But then I think we led the biggest trade pack run we've done in a single run last night, which was absolutely epic.
How many?
Yeah.
199.
Holy moly. That's amazing.
Yeah, we did a lot. We had 3 merchant ships, 4 cutters, 1 loot song junk, and 3 clippers.
That's
All in
great.
one run. It was
That's
absolutely
great.
amazing. We did good. Slayers came at us head on, kept us in the choke point for a couple minutes. We pushed through. We had another raid group push the right side and went in. We got them all turned in. We lost 1 pack.
Yeah, we did lose 1 pack.
Syrian, if you've seen Profesie, it probably means you've been in trouble.
True enough. True enough.
But I see what you're saying. He kind of does look like Mickey Mouse with his headset on. I can see
you
that.
did. Sorry, Prophecy. I did say it. I said Profesie, didn't I?
It's okay. Mickey
no.
Mouse, prophecy, whatever. It works.
So, August, what you been up to, bud?
I finally got all my Hasla weapons nailed down, and then after that, I've been doing the trade runs in naval PvP. I was on the big trade run doing my part, and afterwards we took care of some other guilds that were stealing trade packs from some of our own members, and then we just moved on out into the ocean and started driving around. I got to drive a cutter. That was pretty cool. I had never drove one of those boulders before. They don't turn they're not very nimble creatures.
No.
No, they're not. Now, I hear the Black Pearl's a little more nimbler.
Yeah.
Chris, you want to tell us a little bit about the Black Pearl?
Well, we've finally nailed down the rotation on farming it. to the point where we can actually get a kill that drops a black pearl scrap, like pretty much every 5 minutes.
Nice.
And it has a 5% drop rate. So all in all, it's not that crazy of a goal to have one, I'd say, within the next month or two. I know that there are some black pearls on some other servers, and that's just a matter of either hacking or extreme coordination. I know there were some accusations that you got people on other servers teleport hacking to the guys that dropped the pieces. I in my experience, from what I've seen, knowing what enemies drop the black pearl scrap fragments, I think it's totally possible to have done it right now if you've dedicated yourself to getting it from the beginning. So, yeah, grats to some of those people on the other servers. I think there's a black pearl on Curios. I don't believe there's one on Malfureous yet. I sure as heck haven't seen it. But yeah, we're trying. We're making pretty good progress on it. And actually, I forgot earlier. One thing I've been doing this week is monster hunting. I actually, with the help of some guildies, we actually captured the Flame Lord world boss. So I have a little firecracker for a battle pet now. Now, he completely sucks. I definitely don't recommend getting Flame Lord for a battle pet if you actually want it to be effective at all. But it's pretty good. It's pretty cool to have a little fire elemental following you around.
That's pretty neat. That's pretty neat. I know what I've been doing this last week is trying to farm Hasla weapons. And let me tell you something. That's mind-numbing.
Isn't it?
It really is. I should have my shield next time I go out and be working on my sword, but holy moly. Anybody who's got more than 2 weapons, more than 1 weapon, my hat's off to them. Because that is just absolutely mind-numbing.
Yeah, it is. I got lucky on the day they released the healer weapon. I actually got into a group and we got when it did the event, and I won the roll twice when they did the 30. It had 30 tokens when you won, so I got 60 tokens literally in like 2 minutes. That's the only thing that made it quick.
That's incredibly lucky.
Yeah,
it 4 hours.
Never happens before that, but yeah.
I mean, just the fact that they dropped the compassion tokens during that event—that's pretty lucky.
Yeah.
Well, they had compassion kind of tweaked up a little bit there for a while. They said, so that compassion was supposed to be dropping a little more regularly than the rest of them, but still, that's still pretty friggin' lucky.
Yeah, I'll tell you, it seems to run in spurts. You'll be there, and then like for the shield, the fortitude drops it's like for 5 minutes, it just drops. Every 3rd or 4th drop is fortitude, and then bam, you go on like a 10 or 15 minute dry spell. Yeah. It's, I guess one of the good things is at least same faction seems to respect each other's camps for the most part. If you got a camp, you don't have to worry too much about another group of greens coming in and trying to kill steal you. I mean, it happens every once in a while. When it does, you deal with it accordingly. But for the most part, people respect each other's camps. So kind of a throwback to old EQ there. It's reassuring to see that type of cooperation, at least a little bit. Now, obviously, the red guilds won't respect your camps at all. So that throws a whole new wrench into it, especially when the rift hits.
Nor will we respect theirs.
Yeah.
Yeah, normally we do. It's try to anyway. I mean, do unto others as you wish done unto you until they pwn you or something.
Yeah.
True enough.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go for that compassion one because I got the 2-handed axe and it doesn't have the right abilities. Somebody told me compassion has agility on it, so.
Oh, good deal. Good deal.
And the DPS is still up over 300, so it looks like it's gonna be a good one.
It's got strength, agility, and spirit. It's actually got 18 strength, 45 agility, and 27 spirit.
Yeah.
Now, how do y'all feel about a zone like Hasla in the game? I mean, I've heard mixed results. I've heard that it encourages PvP, and people really like that. And I've heard that, kind of like you said, I hate it.
I'd tell you one thing. I think that the Hasla weapons are one of the worst things in the game for PvP weapons and economic balance. To kind of give you some perspective on that, I just yesterday hit 50k in weaponry. So yay for that. I can make the second tier of level 50 weapons now. But only now can I make weapons at the same level as Hasla weapons. And it costs, a couple thousand gold to do so. Yeah. So it really, if your class is one of the ones that uses those Hasla weapons, and most do, with the exception of some people that want to use like Nodachis or like one-handed scepters or clubs, most have a Hasla weapon available for it. It's basically a huge weapon skip, and I don't like it at all. Now the PvP is nice. It is a great introduction to large-scale world PvP, especially when the tensions boil over and people pretty much say, okay, screw fighting the plants, we're going to go wipe the enemy faction, and you get, front lines, and that gets pretty cool. But I don't really like that the weapons exist, and I don't like that it lags up the prettiest zone in the entire game.
Yes.
Agreed.
I kind of agree with the same thing that what Chris was just talking about. The fact that it's such a weapon skip really hurts all the crafters. And I know that they put them in there as a way to help people catapult to get ready to do the library. And my understanding is that it wasn't there originally until they introduced the 1.7 stuff. And from what we heard, they're not going to bring the second and third tiers back, which is good, because at least that way our crafters will be able to do something. If they brought the second and third tier back, then you might as well just hang your hat up for doing weaponsmithing and stuff like that until you got like a level 450 weapon. And good gravy, the RNG factor in that is just through the roof.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really is.
It gets a little absurd.
Somebody on our server, I'm not going to say his name because he would just love that way too much. They actually just crafted a Delphinod bow, which would be even better than the third tier Hasla weapon. So it's getting to the point where even if they increase the greater tiers to the Hasla weapons, it's not going to matter too much. Now, the thing about the Hasla weapons, the second and third tier, which are not in the game right now, all that does when you forge that new one is raise the grade of it. It doesn't bring it up to a new item level, it just raises the grade. So the first tier of Hasla weapons is a blue rare grade Ethereum weapon, essentially, which is tier 2 level 50. And so when you upgrade it, it goes up to a purple Ethereum weapon, and the upgrade again goes up to an orange Ethereum weapon. So actually the tier 2 and 3 is not that big of a deal in the grand scheme of things. I mean, yeah, they're still better, but we're getting to the point where at least the weaponsmiths and the carpenters are starting to make gear that is better than the Hasla stuff.
Yeah, but look, the cost
and as it
on
should be.
Yeah, but the cost on it is still through the roof. I mean, if I was to sit down and get you to make Joe, try to get her a Delphinod healing weapon, I would have to pony up $5,000-6,000 of gold. Yep. I mean, and now for some fisher people, we've heard that that's easily doable, but not for me.
For us normal folk.
Us normal folk that carry like 10 or 20 gold max.
Yeah.
Yeah, if that.
On a regular day, I make about 60 gold, so that's, I don't know.
That's still pretty good. But
still almost a month.
I was about to say 60 gold's good, man. I can't tell you the last time I saw 60 gold and it was actually my gold.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of gold, but that's the guild's gold. And Hasla seems to be the zone. I guess it's the progression zone or whatever for equipment outside of crafting, because you got your Hasla armor and you go through those quests, and Baron Scarletta ran me through those last week, which was really interesting. It was very interesting. Then of course you have the weapons and everything. So And I mean, it's like they took this whole zone and they said, okay, if you want armor or weapons, go here.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool in a lot of instances. You just stay there and go.
Can't blame them for wanting people to be here. Like I said before, I think it is the prettiest and one of the most well-designed zones in any MMO I've ever played.
Yes.
The waterfalls and the islands, the beautiful architecture, the rice paddies. I built my personal house in Hasla, and I don't care how many reds it pisses off, because it really does. But that's where I decided that I wanted to live. It'll just be... And I've already noticed that the lag is coming down, because a lot of people are starting to get their Hasla weapons, so it's not quite as crazy there anymore as it used to be. So it's not a bad place to live.
Chris, Joey the Moose is asking, can Chrysamere explain the sealed weapon process? How do you get up to the Delphinod weapon?
Oh boy, the sealed weapon process. I hope you like RNG.
Now, for those that don't know, explain what RNG is.
I do not like RNG.
Well, RNG is... it stands for random number generator, and it essentially means that you have a chance to get what you want, or a chance to be stuck straight in your place. So, basically, when a weapon gets to level 44, or armor, the same thing holds true for armor too. When armor or weapons get to level 44, they are no longer have fixed stats. They are they're sealed, and you open them up, and they have a set. They have a couple of set results that they can have. I think it's like 6 or 7 different set stats. So unwrap one that has straight agility. You can unwrap one that has agility, strength, intelligence, spirit. Basically, the attributes on the weapon is it can be a certain one. However, only one of the possible results is able to be upgraded to the next tier. So when you open your level 44 weapon, if you don't get a certain one, so it's like a 1 out of 7 chance or 1 out of 10 chance or something like that, you're stuck there. Your weapon can't be upgraded past 44, and that's the weapon that you have, and you have to make another one. Yeah, it's pretty rough. Now, if you fail at it 3 times, you can use an even stone on the 3 weapons that you have to get a salvaged version of those weapons, which can be recombined at a salvage forge. If you do that on a level 44 weapon, you are guaranteed to get the upgrade to 50. But if you do it on a level 50 weapon, the whole process starts again. So if you unwrap the correct level 44 sealed weapon, then you can upgrade it to level 50, but then that weapon is also sealed. So then that 50 has to unwrap into the correct one to be upgraded again. So say if I took let's just use a regular sword. If I unwrapped a sealed illustrious sword, I would need for it to be an illustrious summer sword. If it turned out to be an illustrious gale sword or an illustrious lightning sword or anything like that, it is stuck at level 44. It's only if it opens up into an illustrious summer sword can it be upgraded. So then I upgraded it to a magnificent sword, and then that would be a sealed magnificent sword. That magnificent sword has to upgrade into a magnificent summer sword in order to be upgraded to the next level, which is Ethereum. So, in order to get a Delphinod weapon, which is the highest tier weapon, you have to basically, let's assume that it's like a 1 in 7 chance to get the weapon that you want. You have to get a 1 in 7 chance 3 times in a row in order to get a Delphinod weapon. That's what the RNG is.
Damn.
That's insane.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
And I think the actual numbers, the first one is supposed to be 1 in 4, the second stage is 1 in 6, and the third stage is 1 in 6. Is what I was reading. But they could have changed it.
Yeah.
That goes the same for the crafted armor too, though, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Once you get past either 40 or 44, it's just random.
So that is why I've been seeing a lot of people regrading their weapons and armor. I actually don't recommend you regrade anything until you get a level 40 weapon or armor, because say you regraded a level 40 weapon and you got it up to unique. Yeah, that's great. And then you upgrade it to illustrious. Cool. But if that illustrious weapon unwraps and it's not upgradable, you've spent all of that money on regrade scrolls and sun points and all of that stuff to have a weapon that is permanently stuck at 44.
Yeah.
And the best you can do with it is salvage it to get it up to level 50, and you will replace that level 44 weapon pretty quickly with a level 50 weapon of an inferior grade.
Yeah.
So,
Because no matter what grade it is, when you salvage it, it goes back to green.
yep.
So even if we've got a lot of people that are trying to do like the perfect upgrades, and they're sitting with a level 40, that's red or something along those lines. But when they go to craft the 44, if it doesn't proc right, it's either use a level 44 weapon or salvage it. And salvaging a red weapon just hurts the bunghole a
Hurts,
lot
yeah.
more.
Imagine. That's crazy, man. I mean, it's absolutely crazy, and I suppose that's working as intended.
Yeah.
Because it's a grind. It keeps people moving the economy a little bit, but man,
And handicrafters have it worse. For the rings, the earrings, and the necklaces, they all start out like that. They're RNG the whole way.
Dash.
is trolling.
Yeah.
That's wrong.
Yeah,
See,
back 1
T-Bone's
second.
back. Hey, T-Bone.
Now, can anything be done? Darth Star is asking, what can be done with Hasla weapons? Can you better the stats with a certain item?
You can
Nope.
temper them.
That's about it.
Temper 'em.
Yeah, and it
Yeah.
just increases the stats from their 100% to up to 109. But that's it.
You can't regrade them. You can't or anything like that. You can just temper them. And you can spend a lot of money trying to get 109. I mean,
Yeah.
I regraded my weapon probably 8 times, and on the 8th time I got 108, and I was like, you know what, that's close enough. I'm done.
Yeah. It's just like me
Because-
with my Great Club. I did the same thing. It took me 3 times, but I went from 107 down to 102 and then back up to 109. But that doesn't happen all the time.
No.
Yeah, and Joey, you're right. I mean, if you've got all the gold in the world, it's same as buying lottery tickets. Eventually, if you buy enough lottery tickets, you're going to hit the lottery one day. So it's kind of the same principle. If you got the gold to blow and you don't mind just going through the process over and over again and spending the money until you get what you need, then absolutely. I mean, eventually you will. It's a numbers game.
I wish I had that much gold. I hardly have enough gold to buy my hereafter stones.
No doubt. It's yeah, it's neat. And Chris is right. The zone, Hasla, is a beautiful zone. I did when I went there that first time, I fell in love with it. It is very well laid out, graphically pleasing. Very nice.
Joey, only on the level 44 are you guaranteed to get the upgrade after 3 failures. Once you get to level 50, then every 3 that you break salvage and you make, you get another sealed. So you're not guaranteed to get the one that you need to upgrade even after you reforge the 3 failures.
Yeah, and what a lot of people don't understand is with these crafted weapons, this is a long process to get up to 44. You've got to get your level 20 made. You've got to get and that uses dust, and your 24 uses dust, Archeum dust. Your 30 and 34 uses shards, and you need each of these weapons to make the next. So you can't just make a level 24 weapon. You have to have your level 20 to make the 24. And the Archeum cost by the time you get from 20 to 44 in itself is unbelievable.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's horrible, Geek. That's just horrible. To give you an idea, to make a level 24 weapon, it costs 12 dust. To make, the 2 stages after that to get to the 34, it's going to cost you 12 shards and then 12 of the crystals, and that's just to get to 40. So, no, to 44. And then to make the level 50, you need 3 essences. And those are going for like 80 gold a pop.
Yeah, they're expensive. Now, change the topic. Geek asked and asked you, what game would you compare the PvP to in ArcheAge?
I guess I would have to compare it to Vanilla WoW with a little mix of Pirates of the Burning Sea. That's
August is losing it.
that question was asked a while back, and that's
every-
kind of been going an ongoing little joke there.
Nice.
Every show
Uh,
since.
Yeah, I've really been impressed with the PvP in the game. Though we've seen some, some out of the box classes kind of start to make their way. Not everybody's playing, Dagger Spell, Abolisher, Stone Arrow, or Primeval. We're starting to see some more stuff kind of branch out there, and it's good to see. We've
I
had
actually
some
don't
excellent
see
fights.
that many dagger spells.
I
Not as
don't
much
see
as we
them
used to.
Yeah, in beta they were everywhere, but now they're
Yep.
just another class here and there. You see them.
Yeah.
Now, T-Bone asked, if I started the game today, how long would it take to get to the harder content? Not long.
No, not long at all.
Not
Well,
long.
it just depends on what you mean by the harder content. I mean, to get to level 50 may take you, depends on if you did it right and if you used your labor every day and stuff like that, you could probably get there in 2 weeks?
Yeah, week and a half, 2 weeks.
Yeah, if you play decently, I mean, you can expect 3-4 weeks to 50. If even if you're a semi-casual player, it doesn't take long to get up there. It's the grind afterward for the Hasla weapons, and if you're trying to make money, trade packs, stuff like that, that takes a long time. Martine, there actually is a story about this chair, and Bear's seen my chair before. I love my chair. And, what happened was a bunch of kids next door the office was going out of business, and they gave them a bunch of office chairs, and they were literally using them as like derby carts sliding down the driveway. So I appropriated me a big giant, lack of a better word, Captain Kirk looking chair. And yeah, it's seen its better days. It's about 10 years old now. It's probably something living in it for all I know.
Got a lot of blood, sweat, and other stuff in it, though.
Yeah, no doubt. I'm telling you, I left a piece of my ass in it a couple times.
Chris, there was a good question asked while you were gone, and you might be able to expound on it a little better than I did. What other games would you compare the PvP in this game to?
Oh wow, let me see.
Now, we all know
I
there
would
wasn't
say-
any games before WoW.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. It's probably vanilla World of Warcraft,
Yeah,
mixed with Pirates of the Burning Sea.
yeah. See, right on.
There seems to be a
I
consensus.
think you probably could have covered that one though, Bear. I think
I
we're on the
did,
same
I
page
did.
when it comes to that.
Yeah,
Good.
I just wanted to make sure that we were on the same page, and I didn't want
Yeah.
you to miss out either.
No,
And Geeky, I refuse to answer that question. Plenty.
Infinity and beyond.
T-Bone asked, "Will I need Uber gear to do raids or higher level dungeons?" Well, that's kind of difficult to say. Right now, the highest level dungeon is Greater Howling Abyss, and that is completely doable with just your end game quest gear. So just the stuff you get from Hasla and Carcase Ridgelands, totally good as far as armor is concerned for that. Now, at the very least, your DPS needs to have their Hasla weapons. So if you have casters or if you have archers, they really need to have their Hasla bow. A lot of the weapons in Greater Howling Abyss are gear checks. The second boss, you want to kill him before he does his second flame spin, or else the damage on the party starts to get a little crazy. And same with the third boss. A lot of damage is thrown out from all of her magic spells, and the healer only has so much mana. So you really want to have overkill DPS. But as long as you have those weapons, Greater Howling Abyss is pretty easy. Now, as for the raid that's coming out with Auroria called Serpentis. I have heard that is incredibly difficult. So
Good.
when it comes to Serpentis, I wouldn't go there unless I had a full raid of people that had their full Greater Howling Abyss set. They came rocking potions.
Yeah.
The hostile weapons are still probably okay for that.
Now,
But I don't know for sure.
the Dahuda dungeon comes before Serpentis, right? The drowned witch dungeon, the one that's out there in the water. Because there's actually two dungeons.
That's not a dungeon. That's actually just a boss. It's just a raid boss.
I was gonna say, isn't that open world?
No, it's not open world. It's an instanced raid boss that drops some neat gear, but I think that it's on the... Chris, I have a secret reminding me to tell you after the cast. Great.
Sounds like sweet
Soul.
nothings to me.
Tell Chris a secret after the cast.
Soulgrave is going to whisper secrets into my ear. Anyways, the Dahuda thing under the water, it's just one boss fight. You know, it's kind of like I would say like Onyxia was in Vanilla World of Warcraft, where you just zone in and it's one boss and you either kill it or you don't. And I think balance-wise, it's on the same level as Serpentis.
Okay.
I'm looking forward to the raid zone.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I
Yep.
know that they talked about there was an underwater raid zone, but maybe it is just the world boss. But in the cast that they talked about, that you had to get keys and stuff like that.
Right.
So basically, you had to be attuned to it. So you know, I mean, I'm glad to see stuff like that.
Yeah,
come
that's a
back in.
throwback from something I'm familiar with.
Yeah,
Keys and everything else.
Vanilla WoW and EQ1, and you know, I'm looking forward to that.
Now, how do you feel about? I mean, we know the end game. The end game of this game ultimately is PvP. It's castles, it's conquest, it's PvP. But there on the forums, there's actually been a bunch of requests for more PvE content as far as raid zones and dungeons. How do y'all feel about that? And do you think it improves the game or hurts the game to have more PvE content in the game?
I think it does nothing but help.
Yeah, I don't think
agree.
that would hurt.
As long as they don't separate PvP and PvE gear, which in my opinion is the death knell of any game, as long as they make it so that PvE drops the best gear, I think that it's good for the game. I think that I don't like the philosophy that separates that if you're good at PvP, you get PvP gear, and if you're good at PvE, you get PvE gear, because I think that makes PvE pointless. So I'm hoping that they continue to add PvE content, but they continue to keep the gear, best in slot.
Yes.
One thing I want to address that Tetra Cleric said, I'm not sure. You've got me a little confused now, because the Serpentis dungeon was actually in alpha and beta. You just needed to be attuned for it to get in. So I don't know why you're saying that it is in 1.7 when you could get into it in alpha and beta was never in 1.7. As for the Dahuda dungeon, there's two versions of it. The one that's actually out in the water south of Friedich is the 10-man version of it, and the weekend version is one that you go through a portal. Yeah, but library is 1.2. It's not 1.7. The weekend dungeon is a 5-man balance version. So there's a 10-man version, which is out in the middle of the water that you can go to any time, and there's a 5-man version, which is the weekend dungeon.
Tetra saying Serpentis wasn't in beta.
Nobody actually got into it because it required a mat to make the key for it. But there was some people that got into it, as far as I know. I don't know for sure.
I see what she's saying is that the library and that content was actually the 1.7 content that they brought over during the alpha and beta stages, but they didn't intend to open all that up.
Nope.
So,
library was 1.2. 1.2 added library and Diamond Shores. 1.7 adds the Leviathan and the ship customization. Everything that we saw in Diamond Shores is part of the current patch. They're just choosing to close it off for now.
Okay. Yeah, and yes, Soulgrave, there's multiple ways to get good gear.
Absolutely.
But we're hoping that the crafters is the ones that's ultimately going to have the best gear.
Right. Which I
Yeah,
think they
that's-
will.
If you got the
That's-
patience and gold to get there.
Yeah, and that's how it should be. That's going to keep the economy vibrant. That's going to keep crafters relevant, which we all know in past games that games may start out wanting to have the crafters being important in the game, but eventually, and unless you're making potions or food, in a lot of these games, crafters just go by the wayside. So right now, I think Try and Exile games have it right as far as making crafted armor the best, and I hope that continues. I definitely do.
Yeah,
It should be that way.
Dash, if you
Haven.
want to throw up those
Haven.
screenshots, that's fine.
Turn it down.
We can still hear you, Pro.
Oh, sorry.
Fail.
Okay, I
Turn
posted
it
I
down.
posted a YouTube video in our chat, and
Dude's
this
mute.
is of a guild actually doing Serpentis in 1.2 on Alpha. So Serpentis was definitely in. It's just a lot of people didn't do it because in order to actually do it, you needed to be attuned for it, and it's quite expensive to attune for it. But it's Serpentis is 1.2 content and is definitely in the game.
Nice.
Now, what screenshot are we throwing up?
I think he was going to throw up the screenshots of the Kraken that when the clerics went up there. Yeah, there's that's when the fishermen were up there and interrupted the whole armada of the east that was trying to glitch the Kraken out. One of those is where I'm underwater with the Kraken still alive for the moment, and he's all angry and ready to eat someone. Yeah, I'm floating in the water. And the second screenshot is that's the boat that I drove into the Kraken and the Kraken demolished. It wasn't my boat. It was one of the east boats that I appropriated.
Ah.
And just decided to take it over there and let the Kraken destroy it.
Now, we saw a bunch of Krakens in the last day of beta. Is it just as powerful as those?
That's my favorite screenshot that
That
I've
is an
ever
awesome
taken in
screenshot.
game. The
Wow, that is
Kraken
awesome.
now can only be damaged by siege weapons. Now that includes the cannons on the ships, but normal people can't do damage to it. So I don't know if it actually does more damage, but it's actually harder to damage.
Huh. Because I know in the beta, the Kraken was just wiping out any boat that even got close to it.
Yeah, it can take out a clipper with like 2 hits, and the clipper's gone.
Yeah.
But you can sail next to the Kraken, aggro it, and get away. You can still do that.
It's better run like hell.
Yeah. Better be at full speed.
Yeah, that was cool in beta watching the Krakens. It was neat to see them.
Yep.
And nothing lasted very long against it at all.
No, there was 8 of them in the water. That was the end of Alpha.
Yeah, that was a little different.
Yeah.
Yeah, when there was 8 of them in the water, it was definitely that was very interesting.
That was scary.
That was cool, man.
We've heard that it's going to take around 10 to 14 galleon-sized ships. So either the cutters or the loot songs.
And a whole lot of wood packs or just lumber in your...
Oh,
Yeah.
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 We're kind of in the early phases of testing it. I plan on taking a couple galleons out and sacrificing them to the Kraken just to see how many hits it takes for the Kraken to bring a galleon down. We don't really want to use strategies that we see from other guilds. We want to figure it out for ourselves and bring him down the legit way. We don't plan on glitching him or
We don't
doing
glitch.
some of the less scrupulous tactics that some of the other guilds out there are doing it. So the Kraken is our next big target, and we have the Navy to do it. We just need to get the people out there and take some honest tries at it. And, in the meantime, we would just have to be discouraging other people from doing it.
And Overmind, I can guarantee you that he can take a clipper out with 2 hits because he took my clipper out with 2 hits.
Yes, he did.
And mine.
The first hit just about killed me and took a little over half of my clipper's life. And the second hit killed my clipper, but it didn't hit me at all. So yes, you can die with 2 hits. Just so you know.
Now, what type of loot are we looking at? What does the Kraken drop?
Well, he's got the glider.
Mhm.
We've
Soul
posted
Grave's
that up.
glider.
Yeah, Soulgrave said that's his glider.
Soulgrave whines and cries so much about turbulence that he plans on dumping all of his DKP on that glider. And that's what the Kraken glider does. It has a large time that it's allowed to be open. I think it's like 10 minutes or something, and it's immune to turbulence. So you can fly across the ocean with that thing.
I think it still climbs if you push S. While it's going, it goes up instead of down.
I think it just levels out. It doesn't lose altitude, but I don't think it gains just by pushing
Yeah,
S.
they took that ability away from it.
Did they? Okay,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
But what they
besides
did
that-
is they took the ability for it to gain altitude, but they gave it the ability that turbulence doesn't affect it in the ocean.
Right.
Okay.
Now, besides the glider, what else are we looking at for loot?
Well,
He
you
drops
get the
some weapons and
tentacles. Yeah, he does drop weapons and armor, but you've got the tentacles that you can put in your house that, little squiggly things that show that you killed the Kraken. And also it drops an eye that is for a quest. That's part of a quest. So I don't know if you've got to have the quest before you kill the Kraken or if you can get the eye and have it for when you get the quest. It's one of those secret quests. It's for the Ring of Dreams or the Dream Ring or something like that.
I have to look that up.
Yeah.
Zappoxx asked an interesting question. I'm currently playing on a low-populated server, and I know that a lot of people will go back to World of Warcraft when the expansion hits. How do you guys think this will affect ArcheAge, especially on a low-populated server? I think we're going to see a massive exodus when WoW hits, and then think we will have a lot of people coming back. WoW expansions are bright and shiny, but no matter how many expansions WoW does, its PvP will never be as good as this game's is. The engines are they're too different. WoW doesn't have the naval combat, and it's just not as fun for PvP. So you're going to have people that are going to consume all of WoW's expansion content, and then the arena is not going to be enough for them. They're not going to stay. They'll come back, and
we see it. We see it every time in Grievance when a WoW expansion hits. And Grievance has 16 different guilds, 20-something different guilds and embassies. And we see it every time a WoW expansion hits. Everybody goes to the WoW expansion. All the prior WoW players do, because you're right. It's the next new shiny. It's a lot of people got into MMOs with WoW, so it's their first love.
Yeah.
And they play it, and exactly about 2-3 months, and then they all start trickling back to the other games they were playing. Which is good. It's always nice to do that. So if you're on a low pop server, it may or may not hit your server pretty hard. I guess ultimately it depends on the people you have on that server, whether they're ex-WoW players or not. If they're ex-WoW players, there's a good chance they're going to go play the expansion. It also depends what type of guild you're in. If you're in a small guild, you may be hurting a little bit.
And I would take
in
advantage of it.
Yeah. Or if you're in a guild that migrated from WoW, you may be hurting a little bit. But, ultimately, if you like the game, just play the game.
I looked here for the Kraken loot. He drops a two-handed axe that draws a target to you and can be reused every 6 seconds. Reused every 45 seconds. And he drops a scepter. It has a skill about inflicting damage on all enemy targets within 10 meters and immobilizing them for 6 seconds.
Hey, Pro, can you just link that so everybody can look at it?
And then he drops a bunch of tentacles that sell for 15 gold apiece.
And that's the one that you can stick on your house and it kind of goes...
Yeah, pretty
How's
much.
that go again?
That's a good.
All right, it's linked in Twitch.
T-Bone, we usually tell people that go out with us level 30 plus, and that's with a group of PvPers. If you're soloing, you want to be a little higher than that probably, but I mean, as far as level wise, our rule of thumb is if you're 30 plus, it's fine as long as you're in a group, because you can contribute at 30 plus. Not much, but you can contribute.
Yeah, we've got a couple of people that are in their 40s that's, got a couple of kills under their belt already.
Mhm.
Or if you're like me, I just can't ever seem to get that killing blow.
And that's an old loot table, and that's also an old picture of the glider. Let me see if I can find the new one if you want to put that up.
Ansler, how many times do you think we'll kill the Kraken? As many as
A
we
lot.
can.
All the times.
We will go out there on a continual basis.
'Cause we would love to see that glider be in the hands of everyone who does combat.
Any more questions?
Have entire boarding parties with just that glider.
Right?
Now, there's been one thing I've been a little disappointed about in the game so far, and we kind of got spoiled in alpha and beta, and maybe I'm just not catching it. I personally have not gotten to have any really, really epic ship-to-ship battles since the game launched.
You
It's
missed a really good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've missed a couple of really good ones.
I feel lesser for that because those are fun.
Oh,
They
we had
are
an amazing
really
one
fun.
last week. Yeah. They're probably the funnest thing in this game, in my opinion. Hands down.
Absolutely.
So far, I
Yep.
want to see some castle sieges, but I would agree with you so far.
And I'll tell you, Chris owns those things like a boss, man. He's like a freaking conductor conducting an orchestra when it comes to this freaking ship combat stuff. It is really cool. We
Yeah,
have
That's what I wanted to do from the first time I saw the trailer of this game. And you're right, it's the most fun you can have doing it. And that's why going back to earlier, I said that people will go try the WoW expansion, they will come back, because WoW can't offer that. No matter what they do, they cannot offer that.
No.
and Syrian, what does Grievance look forward to in the future? Obviously we're going to go for a castle like any other big guild on the server. We set out with a bunch of goals at the beginning of the game. We've accomplished a lot of them. We've got the farm going. Chrysamere and many of the other leadership on the other guilds of the server have been working together to at least have a non-aggression pact with most of the grains, to where we may not be allies, but we get along and kind of try to stay banded tightly against the opposite faction. That was, I remember Chrysamere telling me that was one of his goals, and him and the other leaders of the other guilds have worked hard to achieve that. Material wise, we're going to get a manor sooner or later. We've got a big fleet. We'd like double the size of our fleet. We want to make a lasting impact on the server for better.
Are there any other fellowship pavilions up on our side?
There is a fellowship pavilion in White Arden now.
Is there? Okay. For a while, we were the only one.
Yeah.
Yep, White Arden. I believe
who
it's
has that one?
Blackhand. Blackhand has that one, I believe. Don't quote me on that.
There was another question: is what are Lord coins? Lord coins are something that the guild leader of an area that owns a castle. So once you've claimed an area, that guild leader is going to be appropriated Lord coins every week, and it's enough that he can, he can give them away or he can use them himself. It's enough to allow you to buy the armor outfit or the armor for your horse. Now the only problem with that is they only last a week. So after you buy the outfit, it lasts 1 week.
Oh.
So only one person gets to wear it at a time.
That's not right.
No.
That's not right.
I didn't know it only lasted a week. That's kind of messed up.
Yeah, I didn't know that either.
Yep.
Would
Yeah, a
we
lot of people
rather
are
have
about that.
another merchant ship or another galleon? I would say galleon, to be honest.
Yeah.
We've got
Yeah,
3
we're-
or 4 merchant ships right now.
Yeah, we're pretty good for
Now-
the merchant ships.
Now, Syrian, you need a galleon. As many packs that you're moving up and down the coast, you definitely need a galleon.
Gateways up and down
Oh.
the coast at 2 p.m.
And I have
Yeah.
to give Syrian credit. Syrian did a really great write up about trade packs and trade routes, and I've got Ron now Cronin, our web guru, and he's going to add that to our important ArcheAge information on the site. But it is a very, very good read. It's informative. It's well put together. So look for that to be in our ArcheAge information section on our grievance site. It's definitely eye-opening and educational. Really well put together, Syrian.
Yep.
I don't know about you guys, but I don't want another merchant ship or another galleon. I'd prefer a faster ship.
Black Pearl.
Black Pearl.
Black Pearl.
Yeah, that's just me though. I think there's a glaring omission in our fleet that we should work on fixing.
Glaring, huh?
And
Oh, yeah.
Zach, you're right. The land PvP is pretty fun. It's the Halcyon wars are pretty fun. Now that the streamer guilds have moved on to Stream WoW beta, they're a lot more even than they used to be, and they're actually a little challenging and fun. It goes back and forth now, so that's one of the plus sides of it. The Halcyon wars are fun. Hasla is fun. When Hasla goes to war, it gets really, really interesting, and you see some tactics and people trying to put others in bottlenecks. So and Friedrich Island, of course, the land PvP is really good. It's I tend to favor the ship more personally, just because the closet pirate in all of us. Yar.
Urge. I'll admit, even the concept of being a pirate in this game is very, very appealing. It seems like it would be an
absolutely.
absolute blast. Just my opinion.
That wasn't
Absolutely.
gameplay for everybody else.
It's just too bad you're hated by every NPC on the server at that point.
It took me a long time to figure out the appeal of being a pirate. Why would you want to shut off an entire half of the game when there's open PvP anyway? But after being on this server for a while, I think I kind of get it.
Yeah.
Because just there are some times when I really just feel like I want to kill the people on our faction just as much as the people on the enemy faction. I won't, but I kind of get the appeal of wanting to leave the faction that you're in, if they piss you off enough.
Yeah.
If you want to look, Pro, you had asked for a link for the Lord's Armor. Just head over to Mirage Island. Go
Oh,
look
they're
at
out there? All right, I'll take a look.
it. And T-Bone had a question. What do you guys like most about the game?
Real quick, before we answer that, just Venethar made a statement up there that I wanted to address too. He said you guys have 3 to 4 merchant ships now, and you just gained another 3 to 4. So, which is very true. So we're in upwards of 8 merchant ships now.
So our next trade pack, we'll be we'll be
That'll put
rolling
us at
pretty
over-
deep.
That'll put us at over 200 trade packs in a single.
Holy moly.
Yeah.
Wow. That's crazy, man. That's crazy. What do I personally like most about the game? And as a guild leader, is challenging. There's a lot of different aspects about the game. There's the politics in the game. Thank God I've got Chrysamere, who understands the politics. But there are politics in the game that, a lot like Eve in a lot of ways, as far as the political system in the game, with guilds making alliances and deals and talking to each other or not talking to each other. Pirate lords.
Amen.
But the farming, the organizational level. If you like organizing stuff or running a guild, this game has been the most challenging probably out of all the games where I've led a guild. Yes, for me, that's the most exciting aspect. Now, as far as game mechanics, obviously ship to ship battles. What about you, Bear?
You know, I love just about everything about this game. That sounds weird, but you know, about a year ago, JoJo was telling me that she would love to have an MMO where she had a farm and she could grow stuff, you know, that would be used in the crafting and, you know, that had a real intricate crafting system, but still had some PvP and PvE. And then we found this, and it was like they went down the checklist of everything that she had been looking for, and just, you know, checked it all off. And so I love it all. I mean, as much as a headache, and I know that anybody out there that's tried to manage, you know, a large farm, y'all know how much of a headache it can be. And bless Marcus, he has been doing an absolutely fabulous job.
Amen.
But you know, but it's fun. You know, that's an aspect of this game that no other game previously has been able to utilize. The PvP in this game is dynamic. There's a lot of strategy that, you know, that needs to be used. You can't just go out there and try to zerg stuff, because even on Free Island, there's choke points. If you utilize the choke points right, you know, you can use those to your advantage. You get somebody focused on trying to break through a choke point, and you come around behind them, and you can anvil hammer them, you know, and squish they go. I mean, there's just so much stuff. And then you throw in the, you know, the ocean combat and stuff. Man, this game, it's got so much to offer, um, that I don't see myself getting bored with it for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Mel, it's the streamer guilds. They're just a different breed. I don't know how I feel about them personally. You know, well, we won't get on that soapbox. Because I don't know how I feel about streamer guilds. I tend to think it kind of discredits guilds a little bit, but it seems to work for them, and they seem to be turning a profit doing it. So, more power to them.
And we've seen some of the streamer guilds leave, you know, here in the last couple of weeks.
We pissed a couple of them off.
We did. We did. And, you know, but at the same time, and I think it's kind of hurt the East faction some, because they had some of the bigger streamer guilds. And now that those guilds have kind of left and going back to play other things, I think it may have hurt them a little bit. But I don't know. We'll get there.
Like a Flowbow asked a interesting question. Why do you guys think the developer put so many good things on the east side and so many not that good things on the western continent? Well, I don't know that I agree with that. We played the eastern continent in beta. I think we have a pretty good understanding of what East has to offer. Now, mechanics-wise, the East has some things that for some reason the West doesn't have, but I think that they just overlooked it, like training dummies, for example. I don't think the West has any training dummies. But if you look at the actual layout of the land, we have the Fuel Sound, which is a really, really awesome area for trading. The East Continent, it's wide open. I think it's much easier to pirate and kill Eastern Continent boats. Really, the only thing... all right, there's one thing the East Continent has that kind of chaps my hide and ticks me off.
Mining.
No, not mining. It's actually the city of Caranord. Specifically, they have such a great hub in Yenistir. So they can always see when the rift is popping up, because they use that as their main hub. And what really gets me the most is their concert hall. They've got the piano, the grand piano with the acoustics. No, you know what? It really bothers me, because you know, that is the best place in the entire game to listen to the music that Artistry makes.
You're right.
It's smack dab in the middle of Caranord, and you know, Western players have to go there at their own risk. You know, yes, it's a neutral town, and the guards won't kill you there, but you know, that's where the Eastern faction likes to hang out. Now, to balance that out, though, Marianople is so much better than what is their city called? The City of Towers. Marianople is way better than the City of Towers. It's larger. It makes more sense. It's
Better
better
laid
looking.
out for sure.
Yeah, so I think that it's actually pretty balanced. It's just the concert hall that pisses me off. I wish we had a concert hall. I
We
know
also have
that's
stuff.
that's such a weird thing, like a weird, oddly specific thing. I just see that concert hall as being like the jewel of the East, you know, the one thing that they really have that I wish that we had.
We also have stuff that they don't have attached to our continent that they don't have access to unless they come over to us, which is like the star shard mining area and stuff like that. So they gotta brave our seas and our continent to come over and mine star shards, which
True.
was a real popular thing for everybody who was trying to level anything.
That's a good question. What do you guys think of having a level 50 alt? Is that a waste of time? Should I get those classes on my main? Since I want my main to be caster and my alt to be melee DPS.
I think it's a waste of time, personally.
I would agree, because the only reason I have alts is to use labor potions, because any class I want to be, I can just level up on my main and switch over.
Yeah, you just change your gear and you change all you're basically changing your character. So
I can see the appeal of wanting to do the alt for the simple fact of having your quest gear, and not having to try to get some made. But in reality, you're better off, doing it on your main, because as soon as you get the the Archmaster or something like that title, and that's when you've leveled up all the stuff. That's going to make all your classes so much better. So in the long run, it's better to have it on your main.
you can farm some like armor or something from the larger level dungeons, and that's just about as good or better than the quest gear.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the armor that comes out of Great or Howling Abyss is much better.
Yeah, I'm looking for that right now over my leather quest gear. So
Yeah, I agree. Personally, I've always mostly been a one tune player. I've never gotten into the alts, but I know there are people that really like alts, and I guess it all falls back on your play style. If you like to have a caster and you like to take that caster off the shelf and play that caster exactly like it is, without having to switch anything, and then you want to go melee DPS and you don't want to have to worry about switching gear or skills or anything like that, you just put that caster back on the shelf and grab your melee DPS and go for it. And I do see the benefits of something like that, but I definitely not me. I just like one character.
Overmind said that this game is beta with this many bugs. In all reality, I've seen games launch that are way buggier than this one.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
and the alpha and the betas were much better than any alpha and beta that I had ever been a part of. Launch had a couple of hiccups, but overall, man,
yeah.
I think overall the game's done pretty well. I don't agree with how they did the servers it released. We can pick apart some of the decisions that they made, but overall, I think they've done a pretty good job. Yes, there is still a memory leak that they haven't got fixed yet, because everybody gets those funky graphics every once in a while. But that's happened to me only like twice since release. So,
well, and
Yeah.
Wee Man says the hacks and the bots are a bigger problem than bugs. I haven't seen a game that's launched in the last 5 years that wasn't full of hacks and bots.
yeah,
I mean,
I don't
there
think that's ever
hasn't
going to
been.
stop.
It's now granted, it seems like, and this isn't just an ArcheAge thing, it seems like each game the gold sellers get worse and worse and worse. And I wish we would have thought about the video, because we actually had one of our members video a group of future gold sellers trying to level up, and they were swarming around this zone, and it looked like a swarm of locusts moving from mob to mob to mob to mob. It was quite interesting. And it did. It looked like a swarm of locusts. Like if you envisioned a bunch of bugs flying back and forth, this is what they looked like. But it's going to be worse in the next game, and it's going to be worse in the next game after that. Games like Star Citizen may be able to curb that a little bit with the price of their ships. You know, because you have to make a real investment to play a game like Star Citizen. You're gonna have bots, you're gonna have gold sellers, but having to pay X number of dollars every single time you want to create an account and have a ship is going to slow it down a little bit. Anytime you have a free to play game, you're going to have a lot of them just because there's no investment. They don't have to buy a box every single time they play the game. It's, you know, that's what the community seems to want. The gaming community seems to want. So right along with that, you get the gold sellers in masse to go with it.
Well, and to touch on what they're talking about, yeah, there are the teleport hacks. They're horrible. They're game breaking. You know, I know that Tryon is kicking these guys as quick as they can and trying to fix it. The AH hack isn't so much as a hack as it is a mod that people are running that allows them to watch the seconds and actually set up so it will bid at the very last, half a second or something like that. It's unfair. I mean, it's ridiculous. It's unfair, but that's something that they're going to have to work on. And the land hacks is the same way. With people being able to be in a house that's locked and still claim land that's 40 feet away from them. There are some things that need to be fixed. You're right.
Absolutely, but the auction house mod has been around since EverQuest 2. I knew a guy that was using it to watch the auction house back in EverQuest 2, back in the early days. These have been around for a long time.
Yeah. My biggest issue with bugs is the hopelessness. Because Tryon is just a publisher, the hopelessness of getting them fixed. Let me give you an example. We were talking about taming the world bosses earlier. Well, I got one. I have the Flame Lord Battle Pet, and I leveled it up to 47 or so, and I had it take some shots at Profesie, and it did 1 damage with its auto attack. 1 damage. So I have to assume that it's bugged because his level, I think it was a level 38 wolf pup, was able to defeat my level 43 Flame Lord Battle Pet.
And lost no health.
Right, yeah. So that seems bugged to me. And that's fine, it's bugged, but I just know that it's not going to get fixed. Like, I know it. And unless it gets fixed in a Korean patch and they port that patch over, I know that reporting that as a bug to Tryon is just hopeless because they are not going to fix something small like that.
No, and that does bring up another good point about Tryon being the publisher too. And even though hacks and gold sellers get worse each game, there is a little disadvantage with having to have another company fix your hacks and bugs that you have. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we've been at it for about an hour and a half tonight. So as we end every cast, Profesie, closing thoughts.
Closing thoughts. I cannot wait for Aurora. I cannot wait for a castle, and I am both scared and excited for that epic battle on launch day.
It's gonna be a bloodbath. August, thoughts?
As Profesie stole mine. I want Aurora. I want to start my Archeum farm. I want to do the castles. I want to use tactics and terrain to have some great warfare.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. Chris, thoughts?
I have 2 focuses in the game right now: getting that Black Pearl and getting us fully prepared to get a castle for Aurora. There are a lot of people out there that are going to oppose us in trying to get that castle, and all I can say is, you know what? Bring it on. We are going to be ready. Whether you are a red that thinks you're going to fight us, or whether you are a green and part of a large alliance and think you're going to backstab us, we are ready for it. Bring it on.
Yeah, big thing is, don't take it personally. It's just a castle. We'll be there. Bear?
It's just our castle.
Our castle.
My final thoughts is I'm not worried about the people trying to beat us to a castle. I'm not worried about the miners. I'm not worried about people stabbing us in the back. To be honest, I'm worried about the 4,000 to 6,000 people that are going to be on a piece of land that big.
No
That's my
doubt.
biggest. That's the thing I'm worried about the most, and it's what I'm looking forward to, because Tryon knows that this is going to be an epic battle. They know that it's going to be, massive scale. So they've got cameras that are going to be set up that's going to be recording it all, and I'm wondering how they're going to be able to see everybody, because when we do trade packs,
Yeah.
I can't see everybody in our own guild,
We're not
much
gonna-
No.
less enemy.
Nope.
So
Nope. Sure can't.
that's what I'm anxious to see, is how that's going to work out. If you can only see 200 people, and we know that there's going to be at least 4,000 people trying to mine Anya or protect their miners, that's going to be very interesting.
Very
So-
much so. Very much so. And I guess on my end, play what you want to play. Have fun doing it. Enjoy whatever aspect of the game you want to enjoy. Obviously, find a guild out there that, if you're not in one, that caters to your play style and the needs that you have in the game, and just have a fun time. It's hard. It's a PvP game. Have fun doing it. Don't take it personally. PvP happens. It's going to in this game. So
Yeah.
this has been Steelheart with Bear, Chris, Profesie, and August, and behind the scenes producer Dash. Dash, we love you, man. You make these things possible.